Will, good afternoon, gentlemen. Love your guys' show. Show guys, maybe you mentioned it. But anyway, Dutch is a legend and love his stories. Now that we've heard Dutch's opinion on Hulk Hogan's album Hulk Rules, how does it compare to Randy Macho Man Savage's rap album Be a Man? Which one would be on Dutch's playlist? Great show, you guys rule. Now, previous to this show being recorded, I forced you at gunpoint to listen to Be a Man, the diss track by Randy Savage on Hulk Hogan. So why don't you take us through it?
Well, I wouldn't have either one of those songs in my playlist, but I think if I had to have one, I think I would have the Randy Savage one on there because I've known him for so long and he was a friend. And I think his death, when he died, I think I was notified of that when I was in TNA. And we were getting ready to go into taping for that day. And I knew Randy and worked with him a lot of times when he was just breaking in. We were in Atlanta. And I think his death bothered me more than any of the others because I knew him better. And he was still a relatively young guy. How old was he when he passed away?
Maybe
55.
I'll have a look. You carry on.
But it bothered me because Randy in wrestling, he never tried anything that he didn't give 110%. Baseball, the same way. Mm-hmm. Wrestling, the same way. He was going to work his way into the main event. And he wasn't a super big guy, but he had that personality and he worked his way in. So, but if I had to have a song, both of them suck, by the way, but if I had to have a song that I just had to listen to, they said, you got to pick one or the other, I would pick Randy Savage's song. Both of those songs, I think Hulk sucks worse. And I don't know why I'm saying that, but it does. I can kind of put up with Randy because, I've traveled so much with him. I remember one time I was going down the road with Randy and he just looked over at me and he says, I got a good mind just to pull over and beat the shit out of you. I says, what? He said, you heard me. I think he was serious. I really do. I says, well, there's nothing between you and the side of the road but air. If you want to pull over, pull over. And he kept driving and never brought it up again. So when somebody just tells you that out of the blue, you got to say, what the hell possessed him to say that? But great guy, but I don't know why he said it.
He was 58 when he passed away. Before we move on, I want to maybe quote some of the lyrics from Randy's rap diss on Hulk Hogan. Hot diggity damn Hulk, afraid you set it off. Used to be hard Hulk, now you done turned soft. Doing telephone commercials, I seen you dancing in tights as a ballerina. I knew all along you had those tendencies because you've been running from Macho Man like a got a disease. Dude, please, your pay-per-view event was a joke. You're avoiding Randy Savage because you know you'll get smoked. Come on, that phony fight. The Rock spanked you fast, but when I challenged Hulk Hogan to a real fight, he passed. That's about enough of it.
That's it. Wait a minute. What was the part about the Rock? He had a match with the Rock?
Yeah, so I think it's referring... So this came out in like 2003, so this is a year after the big WrestleMania match with the Rock and Hulk Hogan.
I don't know where I was in 2003.
I know where you were. You were in Puerto Rico still. In 2002, anyway.
Yeah.
With that being said... is it true that Randy always spoke in that voice? Because it seemed like I'd blow my throat out in 4 seconds doing that impression.
Oh yeah. I think we got a letter, a suggestion that people told me not to bring up things that I've talked about before. Randy. He was the Macho Man 24 hours a day. He started out as Randy Popo, went to Randy Savage, and he was Macho Man Randy Savage. And he was Randy Savage at 6 o'clock in the morning, and he was Randy Savage at 5 5:59 a.m. the next morning. So all day long, he never left being a macho man character. So and he talked like that too on the street. Oh yeah. But a lot of times when he was just different. And when you had a match with him, brother, he would wear you out. Because if you weren't in shape, you couldn't go. You couldn't go but like 2 minutes with him, 3 minutes, because he'd blow you up. And once he blew you up, thank God I never blew up with him, because I would be helpless. And he would be stomping a hole in me. But back in those days, I was in shape and I could go. And I hung with him.
I'm
tough guy.
Very briefly, I think I've asked you this before. Do you have any idea what the beef between Hogan and Randy Savage is or was?
It was Miss Elizabeth. I'm pretty sure it was her. Mm-hmm. Because when they were doing that thing on, what was the Saturday Night Live? Was that what it? No, not Saturday Night Live. What was the Saturday night show called?
Saturday Night Main Event.
Saturday Night Main Event. And they did an angle to where and Savage and Hogan were at odds, and they were beating the crap out of Hogan, I think. And I think Miss Elizabeth was with Hogan. They was telling, I think. And she went to the back and got, I think she went to the back to get Hogan, beating the hell out of Randy. Mm-hmm. And yeah, she was at the ring with Randy, and she went to get Hogan. Oh, they're beating up Randy, and he came out and they made the big save, because the crowd they go bananas. And now you got these two guys and they've been beefing back and forth. And now will they join up to fight these guys? I forgot who their opponents were. So Miss Elizabeth was instrumental in getting them back together. But it all started over, I think, the attention that Hulk was showing Miss Elizabeth, because Randy was very, very protective of her, always. When they would go on the road, they'd get a car, and Savage was very, very cheap in spending money. He'd get the lowest price car they had. He'd get like the $9, the $9 a day car, and be a small car. And they would ride together. Of course, they were making money, because Miss Elizabeth, she was making money too, just by appearing on the shows. So then they get one room, they have one car, and that's how they would go on the road. And from what I understand, Hogan was caught talking to her somewhere out in the hallway, and Randy didn't like it. And he thought Hogan was lying to him about the whole situation. I think they've had an actual fight, I think, somewhere in Tampa. I think some punches were thrown or something like that. But I don't know if they worked it out before he passed. I think they did. So, but that's what the beef was. It was Miss Elizabeth. He was even when he would go into the building, he would go get him a room, and he would put her in there. And when he left the room to go talk to somebody, he closed the door. Nobody was allowed to go in and talk to her unless he was there. So that's what it was about, I think.